My name is Mani, Faculty of Commerce and Commerce and Management. Today now I am discussing about the GST topic 5th semester Unit 1. So in that unit particularly we are discussing total unit wise overview of GST and the concepts of GST, and again what we have a subsumed taxes of GST and the components of the GST and GST council, advantages of GST and GST registration. All these topics are covered under the first unit. Coming to introduction of the overview of GST. What is GST? GST means, that is the full form of GST, goods and service tax. It is an indirect tax which was replaced by many indirect taxes in India, such as the excise duty and VAT, service tax, etc. The Goods and Service Tax Act was passed in the Parliament at the time of 29th March 2017 and came into effect. It is from 1st July 2017 onwards. So coming to full form and the one more abbreviation of the GST, that means goods and service tax, is levied on the supply of the goods and services. Previously we have so many indirect taxes. The total indirect taxes, it's replaced and subsumed, the GST is started. So goods and service tax law in India is a comprehensive multi-stage dimension based on indirect tax levied in the supply of goods and services. So what is meaning of multi-stage? We are discussing about the what is GST and what are the indirect subsumed taxes are subsumed in introduction, and which was the date for starting of the GST. Now coming to the topic of that means a multi-stage destination based indirect tax. What is meaning of multi-stage? For example, an item of goes through multi changes of the hands along in supply chain. One more time, an item goes through multiple change of hands along in supply chain. So starting from the manufacturer until the final stage and destination of the consumer. So based on the goods and service tax is levied on the each stage, making in the multiple stage tax in each stage. So for example, the product is made by or manufactured by manufacturer. After manufacturer, the goods are transferred to distributor to wholesaler to retailer, finally retailer to reachable to the ultimate consumer. So there is a multiple stages in everywhere by transferring the manufacturer to final consumer. So each stage they are levying the tax is called multi-stage. I think it's clear. So coming to overview of GST and the key features and the components of the GST. So what is the main purpose of the GST? Means comprehensive, and it's an indirect, all indirect taxes almost included we replaced by GST. And we are already learned of the multi-stage. What is meaning of multi-stage? And destination where the product is reaching. So concepts of GST. So coming to concepts of GST, value addition. What is the meaning of value addition? While there is a supply chain from the manufacturer to ultimate consumer, there is a one kind of process of supply chain. The value is transferred from each stage. That is called value addition. What is meaning of input tax credit? It is very important for the regular dealers, whereas in composition dealer the input tax credit is not applicable. Okay, what is meaning of input tax credit? So input tax credit means, for example, by making of biscuit, we need to purchase some raw material like the sugar, powder and the ingredients and some other components. For all these products we are purchasing, then making the finished product. But whatever the product we are selling, we are collecting the taxes. At the same time, whatever the goods we are purchasing, we are paying the tax. So government give us some components, that is some relaxation to the regular dealer who are having the regular dealers. They are subsumed or deducted the purchased goods value related taxes. So for example, while purchasing all these raw material, I paid to the tax 1,000 rupees, and again I collecting the taxes through sales by selling of the products. So total sales through we are receiving the tax 3,000. Example, total receiving the tax through sales 3,000, while purchasing I paying the tax 1,000. So 3,000 minus 1,000, that is the 2,000 paid to the government. Whatever the tax we are lessing, that is 1,000 rupees for purchasing of the paying tax, that is called input tax credit. Once again, నేను ప్రోడక్ట్ తయారు చేయడానికి మెటీరియల్ కొన్నానండి. దానికి నాకు ప్రోడక్ట్ కొన్న దాని మీద 1,000 రూపాయలు ట్యాక్స్ కట్టా. సేల్ చేసా ప్రోడక్ట్ని. సో నేను ట్యాక్స్ రూపంలో కస్టమర్స్ దగ్గర సంథింగ్ ఒక 3,000 రూపాయల ట్యాక్స్, నా ప్రోడక్ట్ రిలేటెడ్ ట్యాక్స్ రేటే 3,000 రూపాయల ట్యాక్స్ నేను తీసుకున్నాను. సో ఇన్పుట్ ట్యాక్స్ క్రెడిట్ అంటే ఏంటి అంటే, ఈ 3,000 రూపీస్లో నుంచి నేను ఏదైతే పే చేశానో పర్చేస్ రిలేటెడ్ ట్యాక్స్ ఆ 1,000 తీసేసి రిమైనింగ్ 2,000 గవర్నమెంట్కి ట్యాక్స్ కడతాను. that 1,000 rupees is called input tax credit. It is very important future for GST, and while having an input tax credit, some of the custodians are while mismatching of the taxes and the placing of the invoice, all these chain based linked perfectly aggregately collected the taxes. Okay. And dual GST mode. India follows the dual GST mode where both the central government and state government, whenever if you are buying or purchasing some of the products, they are rendering the two kinds of taxes, that is a CGST and SGST. CGST for central and SGST for state. So they are levying the tax in a dual mode, that is a dual GST model. Coming to subsumed under GST, taxes which are the taxes subsumed, that means replaced under the GST, means in state government and central government both the government some kind of indirect taxes are subsumed, like from the state level value added tax, that is a VAT, and central sales tax CST, purchase tax, entertainment tax, luxury tax, and transport related off-try or entry tax. These taxes and there some more other taxes also there. Example, some of the taxes are state government subsumed after enter into the GST, and central government also some of the taxes are subsumed. In that, central excise duty, service tax, additional excise duty, and special additional duty of customs, that is SAD, and more than again I think number of taxes are subsumed, indirect taxes are subsumed in central also. Example, I given a some of them. Next, what are the components of the GST? And we are previously also discussing about the components of GST, and once again, that is the components of GST: CGST, SGST, IGST. What is meaning of CGST? CGST means central GST, central goods and service tax, that is levied by central government. రిటైర్ చేయాల్సి వస్తుందని
రన్నింగ్లో ఉన్నట్ట ఏంట
ఇప్పుడు నేను చేసుకోవచ్చు. అయితే
ఆ బిట్టు కంటిన్యూ చేయండి, చెప్తా ఆగండి. ప్రెస్ చేశాను.
So components of GST, that is the central goods and service tax, state government, that is a state goods and service tax, and integrated goods and service tax. That is the three components. One more components we have, that is a UGST, and I will discuss in the later that central government goods and service tax, that is a CGST, is collected by levied by central government, and whereas in state SGST is levied by state government. But what about the IGST? What is the purpose of using the IGST means? It is the inter sales. For example, our state person selling the products to other state, they are levied under that. In that case, only IGST, interstate goods and service tax. It is also levied by central government, completely central government. But whereas if you are sale or purchase for intra sales, that is intra purchases, we are using the CGST and STST. Whereas in other states, we are using the IGST. Next, GST Council. What are the members are available in GST Council, and what is the GST Council means? In the correspondent GST levying taxes, procedures, systems, everything, the structure followed by some of the members. Those members are registered under the GST Council. In that GST Council having some chairperson and members. Who is the chairperson? Who is the acts as a finance minister at for the central government, for the center? Who is acts as a central finance minister like Nirmala Sitharaman? Right now that is the chairperson for GST Council. But members, who is the members of the GST Council? In each state, whatever the states we have, for each state financial ministers who are elected as a financial minister, those are the members for the GST Council. That means all the state representative financial ministers are members, and the central related finance minister is the chairperson. Right now that is the chairperson is Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am. Then what are the functions of GST Council? They are collecting the taxes, allocating the rates, exemptions, and the limitations of the threshold limitations of the GST, and that means relaxations, special provisions, and special government. That means that is a components. That means. For example, nowadays from the recently they are changing the GST slab rates system. Previously we have 5 types of GST rates, but now the government of central government finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman ma'am announcing the new slab rates. Some of the slab rates of 5%, 18%, and maximum some of the components of the products 40%. So that is the new slab rate. All these decisions are taken by GST Council members and chairpersons. And what is the advantages of the GST? So whatever we are subsumed indirect taxes and started with a great effort one GST, they have a number of advantages. That's why we are right now and currently also using and verifying the different types of slab rates and different sectors in different products. And coming to our economy, they are collecting the tax and simplified tax structure. There is no custodians. Custodians means illegal transactions, escaping of the tax. These kind of transactions is called custodians. And higher compliance of transparency. Higher compliance of transparency. Whenever if anyone committed to any mistake or any custodian, we can easily trace out in the particular problem through economy wise. Coming to business, so across India market they have a simplified structure and a tax slabs rates and reduced logistics cost, that is a transportation cost, and less tax burdens. So for consumers, most of them in GST, consumers are enjoying the procedure of the previous subsumed taxes than GST because the product cost is reduced after GST. So that is the we are mentioning here, reduced the price. And transparency in pricing. Previously having the tax system, one commodity have a price from the manufacturer to ultimate consumer, example 100 rupees. After GST, the same product reaching from the manufacturer to ultimate consumer, customer enjoying the product with a cost of 60 rupees. What previously 100 rupees, after GST 60 rupees. So automatically the consumer is happy by reducing the product cost. These are the advantages for the economy, business as well as consumers. Coming to next topic, what is the registration procedure and who should register into the GST, and with how many types of procedures of registration. Then we were discussing what is meaning of registration, how to register means every person who wants to sell like online platform, e-consumers, electronic consumers are inter supply, where supplying the goods for other states, and intra supply, all are mandatory to register the GST with a website of www.gst.gov.in. This is the official government GST registration portal. After entering to the GST registration portal, the login ID and password you should need to register for the procedure of the registration, like submitting your details of the documents and mandatory fields fill. Then you will get the 14 digits of the GST registration number based on your state. Then who should register? Every person who have a turnover more than 40 lakhs, they should need to register. And if anyone wants to register below 40 lakhs also, they are accepted. For example, I'm a manufacturer of the penyl. I want to sell this product into online platform, but my turnover is very less than the 40 lakhs or 10 lakhs, but definitely I should need to register. When you want to sell the product in online, definitely irrespective of the turnover lakhs, I should need to register. That is I mentioned in second point, it's a e-commerce operators. Casual taxable persons means some of them seasonally they are doing businesses. They are not working in a long time. They have some short time periods of working. Those are also registered as a casual taxable persons. And NRIs, non-residential taxable persons. Agents of supply. Agents of supply means we have some commodities with a head branch to that is a head office to different types of sub branches. All these customers also registered to the GST registration under the portal of www.gst.gov.in. What is the process of registration? I will give once again. Just check the portal of the www.gst.gov.in. After entering into the GST portal, again you should need to mention the documents of the PAN card, Aadhaar, proofs linked with your business and bank details and etc. required documents mandatorily. And verifying the details of GST in, that is a goods and service tax identification number, that is called GST in number. Finally, the certificate of registration will be issued. After completing the number of GST in, the certificate of registration is issued. And what is the benefits of registration? Whenever if you are registered as a under GST, they have some legal recognition of the business. All the business, what irrespective of the turnover, they have some recognition of the legally. And proper compliance of the input tax credit. We are discussing about the input. What is the meaning of input tax credit? That benefits and that kind of relaxation you could enjoy when you are registered. And eligible to collect the GST from customers. Without registering GST, when you are collecting the tax, it is illegal. And easier to expand business across the states. When you want to sell the products into other states also, easily when you are registered as a regular dealer, you can enjoy the benefit of the other state sales also. So thank you so much. These are all topics coming to our first unit. Thank you so much.